in software testing, the future of QA.
Okay. Yeah, so that's our title. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining from, whatever time of the day it is for you. Welcome to this session. As you all know, you already know the topic for today. It's displayed on the screen, and by adventure, you can't see my screen. I'll just reiterate it. I'll read it. It says AI and machine learning in software testing, the future of QA. So I'll proceed. I think Motolani has already given much introduction about me. So my name is Kingsley Asoma, and I'm currently a senior QA. I work with a company called EIS Group. So EIS Group builds software, insurance applications. It's a very massive cloud-based application. It's almost like SAP, but it's for insurance brokers. So I work here as a QA person. I have about 10 plus years of experience, working around product development, QA, and just around that space. Motolani also mentioned I've been at Conga, I've worked at Sterling Bank, I've worked at Simfix. These are just some of the few companies that will probably resonate with you. There are a few other ones, a couple of other ones that probably don't usually make it to my CV. So welcome again. Sorry, I'm not smiling in this picture. I promise you, I'm a very easygoing guy. I'm a happy guy. I just happen not to smile in the picture. So just before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Just make sure that you're muted, so that every other person will have a good listening experience. Okay. Thank you very much and welcome. All right, so let's get started. So this is what we'll be covering this evening. We'll talk about, we'll do like a little introduction to AI and machine learning. Then we'll look at why we need AI in QA at this point in time. And then what can AI actually do in software testing? We'll cover that. Then we'll touch a little bit on prompt engineering. We try to tailor it towards QA persons. And then we'll look at a few real-world applications or a few real-world examples that a few companies that are using AI and how they are using it in their workspaces. And then to wind down, we'll look at what QA engineers should actually do at the moment and how they should prepare themselves for the future. And if we have time, we'll probably take a few questions and probably a comment. Okay. So I guess the time is very short. I'll try and be as fast as possible. If you have questions, we'll probably take it at the end. So I can just run through the slides as fast as I can. All right. So the first one is AI and machine learning. All right. Like the introduction. I guess I'll start with the question. Please, let's be very interactive. I can see the chat here, so I'll be reading your chat as well. Please just make sure you cooperate with me so I know that I'm not alone here. Okay, so I guess the first question I have for you is, has anyone heard of ChatGPT before? Has anyone heard of ChatGPT? Okay. Okay, I'm getting a massive amount of yes in the comments. That's great. I think I should flip the question. Who hasn't heard of ChatGPT before? If you have never heard of ChatGPT, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I have a gift for you, sincerely. If you've not heard of ChatGPT, I'm waiting. Okay, no response in the comments. I would probably have asked if maybe you're living under. Adeshola, what are you trying to say? I saw I, just later I. Are you saying that you have never heard? Okay, I'm not sure that means you haven't heard of ChatGPT. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to read your comment. Yeah, so if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, I was about to ask if probably maybe you live under a rock and how you were even able to get on this Zoom call. And the gift I was about to give you would probably be maybe a link for you to go directly into ChatGPT or to some videos where you go watch and maybe learn about ChatGPT. So I'll say like the times you're living right now, the current period we are living is probably one of the most interesting times to be alive. I think after the internet and maybe crypto, the next thing that I've literally caused or brought the biggest interruption to our lives at the moment is probably AI. Okay, we you can think of there's literally nothing you're doing at the moment that doesn't have to do with AI. From the way we work, from the way we learn, the way we communicate. Literally every aspect of our lives is these days is wrapped connected to AI in one way or the other. So what is AI? We hear this a lot. What is AI? AI actually means artificial intelligence, and it means when machines do things that normally require human intelligence. So, for instance, what are the things that require human intelligence to do? If you want to, let's say, communicate or have conversations, you need human intelligence to do that. Um, if you want to do anything that has to do with logic, that has to do with calculations, you need human intelligence to do that. So the machine's ability to do the things that you ordinarily require human intelligence to do is basically what is referred to as AI. Okay, so I go ahead. The next one is machine learning. Okay, you probably have heard this a lot as well. It's usually mentioned side by side with AI, and it says it's a type of AI where machines learn from data to improve over time without being directly programmed. Now, basically, what machine learning is just a way that AI is being trained. Okay, for AI to be able to smart to learn like a human being and be able to do the things that the human being will probably do, they need to be trained with a lot of data. You can look at this as maybe the way you train a child, a newborn baby or a toddler. You teach the baby a lot of things. Okay, you show the baby some things. You show it maybe like the object I'm holding now. And you're like, this is a ball, and the baby knows that this is a ball. And you have to keep teaching the child over and over again for the child to actually recognize that item. So that's what machine learning does, to teach the machine to recognize things, to understand things, to sort of have intelligence. So for instance, to train the machine on fruits, for instance, all they just do is that they show the machine, let's say banana, for instance, they show the machine a lot of pictures of bananas. It just keeps showing it, this is banana, this is banana, this is banana, over and over and over again. So the next time you show the machine a picture of the banana, the machine can recognize and like, oh, yes, that's a banana. I've seen that before. It's a banana. So that's how the training is being done. Now, maybe after they show the machine the first banana, the pictures of banana over and over again, right? It knows that banana is somehow curvy, it's yellow in color and all that. Then maybe along the line, someone comes up and then shows the machine a picture of a banana that is unripe, okay, banana that's green in color, and then the machine has it has been trained with yellow banana all this while. So when it now sees a green banana, it's probably confused. It probably would know that that's a banana. So the machine might not be able to recognize that object as banana. So in that case, they'll know that, okay, the machine needs more training. So they'll go get more data and then get more pictures of maybe green bananas or yellow, orange banana if they exist, and then show the machine. They'll also get pictures of banana from different angles, different perspectives, in fingers, in bunch, on trees and all that. So they load all that data and they use it to train the machine. So next time, like regardless of how you the image of the banana you show to the machine, it can recognize that, okay, I've seen this before, that this is actually a banana. So that leads to how the machine is being trained, or for me to talk about how the machine is being trained. Now, for the machine to be trained, they use a lot of data. Okay. The way they measure data, I'm sure you've heard of megabytes, gigabytes, okay, and then they have terabytes, petabytes, is it exabytes, and all that. So like billions and billions of data points and distributed data sets are the kind of data that is used to train the machine for them to be as smart. Because if you don't train the machine enough, the machine will not be able to do a lot of things that you expect the machine to be able to do. So that's why you see, like, if you see where they store the data alone that they used to train the machine, they literally have like cloud clusters that's just data, that's just information that they use to input into this machine for them to actually be smart. Okay, so after we've seen these two definitions, the artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, I guess the next question I have for you is, so what do you think ChatGPT is? Will you say ChatGPT is an AI or ML? From the definition we've given and the explanation I've given, will you say ChatGPT is AI or ML? I'm watching the chat. Okay, someone said both, someone said AI. Why do you say both and why do you say AI? Why do you think it's both artificial intelligence and machine learning? AI trained with ML. Correct. Correct. That's accurate. ChatGPT is actually both AI and ML because on its own, it has some form of human intelligence. That's why you can ask it to do things and is able to do those things. And then it's also been trained on all this, enormous amount of data that we've spoken about. So ChatGPT is both ML and AI. Okay, so we move to the next thing that we have on our slide. So it says, so why does QA? Why do we need AI now? We can all see that the world is really changing. Things are changing a lot. If you work in organizations, if you see even the way development is being done, in the different spaces we work, things move very, very fast. Okay, everybody is doing agile. No one is doing what's the other model, waterfall. Waterfall, where they could develop application for months on end, and then they dump it on the QA, and like, you validate this, and then the QA finds issue, and they take the whole application back, and then they use another several months of iteration. Nobody does that anymore. Okay, cycles are a lot shorter now. Okay, the way applications are being developed are shorter. The world is changing. Technology space, you've been in this space for a while, and you know that things are always changing around technology. So if the world is changing, if development is changing, if technology is changing, QA is a subset, of that whole space. So QA should also change along with the times. So one of the reasons why we need why QA needs AI now is because of the growing complexity of applications. Right now, in today's world, applications are growing in terms of functionality, in terms of capability. Applications can do a whole lot of different things. I heard of this application they use in China where there's literally nothing you can think of. I think it's developed by Tencent. There's literally nothing you can think of that the application cannot do. One application serves as your Uber, your health check, your banking app, your map, literally everything you can think of. Shopping app is inside one application. So applications are getting complex, things applications are able to do are getting complex. So because of that growing complexity, right, of application in today's world, also, the volume of tests that's expected to be performed on those applications are also growing with expectation. Of course, if the functionalities are growing, your test cases should also definitely be growing. And sometimes the speed sort of grows faster than what a human being can actually keep track of. So this is one of the reasons why we need AI. Another reason we need AI in QA is because of shorter release cycles. Like I mentioned earlier, like things move very fast in technology space. Things move faster, applications are developed faster. Just the sheer complexity, of these applications make it impossible to test. I saw a report. I saw a report some time ago that talked about how some of these progressive companies, like the crazy, amazing things they are doing with AI, you know, talking about their pipeline and how they're integrating AI into their QA space. So people like Netflix, I saw a report that says that Netflix on its own, across all its distributed infrastructure, that Netflix on its own has about 50 million lines of code. You know, that's that's crazy. Can you imagine working in that kind of space or testing that kind of application? It says 50 million plus lines of codes, and they deploy thousands of times a day. The same report mentioned Google. It said that Google, across all its infrastructure and services, you know, that Google has more than 2 billion lines of codes. Okay, and they also they deploy several times a day. The one that will blow your mind, that actually did to me, blew my mind, was Amazon. They said across all Amazon infrastructure that they deploy almost every 11 to 12 seconds. Like every 11, 12, 10, 11, 12 seconds, there's a deployment happening somewhere in Amazon. Okay, that's a crazy skill for like human beings to keep track of. So they use these companies, they use AI, you know, they use automation and all these massive test suits, you know, to run their deployment. It's not something like, you know, manual testing or human beings can actually keep track of. So you really need to they have to automate a lot of things, integrate AI to just sort of move with the pace or with the skill with which they go. And then one other reason why we need QA in AI is the shift from reactive to proactive QA. Reactive QA is a kind of QA where you just sit back and then wait for things to go wrong before you go to fix it. You sit back and wait for customers to report issues before you go to fix it. That's reactive QA. Now, proactive QA is when you can anticipate issues, okay, and then you can project and you can find a resolution, you know, find a way to remediate those issues before they even occur. So you don't sit back and wait for issues to happen before they occur. You can orchestrate the issue. You sort of try to simulate the issue and then find a fix for it before they occur. If you do things like maybe stress testing, or if you do things like load testing, you know, on your application, that's a form of proactive QA. You're trying to anticipate, okay, what happens if like 100,000 people should jump on my platform right now? What happens? What happens if that traffic grows to about 1 million people jumping on my platform? You know, what happens in that instance? Like when I was working in Konga, you know, we all know Black Friday. I think Konga calls theirs Yakata. Before that time, before the Black Friday period, because we anticipate the surge in traffic, you know, so we have to sort of load test, stress test, you know, do all that testing on our application to check for, you know, our applications, our platform's ability to handle maybe like 1 million persons currently shopping on the website at once. You know, that's a form of proactive QA. For people that don't do proactive QA, that's when you hear issues that maybe sites are crashing. You know, I know a certain country where maybe like a government employment site, you know, when they are running a recruitment and then, you know, the whole country jumps on the platform and then the platform crashes, or it's probably just too slow. That's because they don't do, they're not proactive and they don't try to find or solve a problem before those problems occur. So that's one of the reasons. And then lastly, there's the aspect of human limitations. And of course, with this kind of speed that we're talking about here, you know, human can actually not keep up with that pace. And then there'll definitely be things like fatigue, and then the sheer scope of it, you know, deploying 11, 12 seconds, you know, every 11, 12 seconds, like it's not possible for manual testing to be able to handle things like that, you know, that pace. And then there's also the issue of bias. I think I can share a story here that pertains to bias. When I was working with SameFix, we were testing a KYC application that has the ability to capture, images, capture the face, and then test for liveness. Liveness is the ability, to check that maybe the face is moving, the eyes are blinking, just to make sure someone doesn't capture like a static image in the KYC application. So when we were testing, the application just kept failing. I was the one testing. I was capturing myself, and it just kept failing. And there was literally, we couldn't find a reason why, the application was failing. We had actually integrated it from like a foreign partner, the module that does the capturing, and all that. It fails when I test on myself. Over several iterations, I try to capture other people, and then some will pass and some will fail. Long story short, after a while, after a period of several iterations and a period of time, I got to realize that the application was only able to capture fair people, right? And maybe my face was too dark or my face was too black, so the application just couldn't, capture my face. So to test that application, we had to, borrow all the fair girls in the office to test the application, while looking for ways to reach out to the owners of the model to tweak it. So that's an example of bias. So when they were testing that application, of course, it's a foreign application. Definitely everyone they used to test the application were all white people, white faces. They didn't consider black people like me that will also be captured. They just tested and implemented on white people. So that's like an example of bias that you could find in application, which AI can solve in the sense of the sheer data size that's used in training in performing tests. Like we mentioned, the data sizes are usually very, very large, very vast. So they tend to cater for more to cover more aspects than if it were to be done manually. Okay. So welcome to QA 2.0, the era of smart testing. And we are trying to look at what AI can actually do in software testing. Okay. The first one is the one that we all know, of course, test case generation. We know the traditional method where manual testing, you look at the requirements and then you try to draft your test cases based on those requirements that you've been given. So we know that I'm sure most of us are already doing this. Is anyone here using AI to generate test cases? Can I see in the comment section? Anyone? Okay. Nice. So a lot of people are already using AI to to generate test cases. Okay, so NLP reads your requirement documents. Is able to read your stories. Has anyone heard of? Does anyone use Notebook LM? Do we know Notebook LM? Anyone using it? Okay. I think that as a no, I can, okay, I'll just quickly show you and then show you what they can do. I think I have it open here. Notebook LM, okay, yeah. So Notebook LM, so just take note of this URL, that's the URL, notebook, like your regular notebook, notebooklm.google.com. So basically what this does is how this can help you in QA, right? This has the ability to take your, maybe like your, in this instance, maybe like your requirement documents, for instance, or whatever test document you have, you can upload that here in this, to this Notebook LM, and the Notebook LM is able to sort of understand the content of that document so much that you can literally maybe ask questions to this platform based on the content of that document, and is able to answer everything. Okay, so it's very easy to use. You could just come here, add, then you select a source. You can add maybe like your PDF, whatever it is that you have as a document, and then when you upload it, you see it listed here, and then you can just type questions. It will summarize the document, and you can just type question here, and then it will is able to answer you based on the content of that document. But the way I use it is this. So I can literally upload the requirement document, and then there's an option here that says audio overview. Okay, now what this does is that it's able to take whatever document you have, maybe a requirement document. I use it for PDF books, mostly, as well. So it's able to carry the document you've uploaded to it as the source, and then it's able to create an audio, like a podcast version of that document. So imagine maybe like a requirement document, and then it's able to create a podcast out of that document. So in a form that you can listen to it as like audio or music or a podcast. So the document, like two people sitting down discussing the content of that document in a way that is actually entertaining enough. So that way you can easily understand the content of maybe what's expected of you, or what the content of a very bulky large document is. It's easier for you to just play it, listen while you're in transit, and then and assimilate the content of that document. I use it that way a lot. So once you're able to create like an audio overview, it will be a PDF. No. An MP3 version will be created here, and you can download it and put it in your phone and listen as an MP3 or whatever music format that you use. So that's how that's how, as a QA, you can use Notebook LM in your everyday work. Okay, so let's go back to our slide. Yeah, so you can use for the first point, you can use Notebook LM to literally read and understand or interpret a requirement document. Then some tools, AI tools, are able to identify risk-based scenarios, based on your input, and then they can advise you. They can also help you generate both negative and positive test cases. I'm sure you all do this a lot with your chat GPTs and the different AI tools that you're using. The benefit of this is just that they save time, they help you improve coverage, and then they help you reduce error, and then they also help you with bias. We've explained. I gave example of bias, so it helps you with some of those things. And here are some sample tools that can help you, with test case generation. But of course, the next thing that it's able to do, AI is able to do for QA, is ability to predict and prevent defects. Okay, it has ability to analyze past defects based on your commit history and your version control logs. Now, for you to be able to do this, you should be able to give it access to your repository. Okay, you should give it access to your repository, for it to be able to have these capabilities. Please infer with your company to be sure that this is allowed, that you're allowed to expose your code, that way. It also helps you flag a risk-prone modules. I'm being warned that my time is running very fast. Okay, let me move very fast. And it can help you suggest where you should spend time testing more deeply, okay? And the benefit is that it can help you test smarter and not harder, and it can help you find bugs before they actually get to production. And these are sample tools you can use here. It helps with AI-driven automation to help you generate automation and self-healing test scripts. Self-healing scripts are just, how you write your automation script, and then maybe there are changes, in your platform, new changes that are deployed, and then your scripts are failing. Self-healing is the ability to rewrite the script in such a way that the changes that are being made on the platform are catered for in your script. So it helps you do that. It helps you with smart element locators. You know how you locate element in your Selenium, using IDs and expert and all that. There are tools that can help you do that. And it also helps you with behavior-driven test design. That's analyze behavior of application on that test. That's what UAT means. What that simply means that, as some tools have the ability to mimic, human behavior, and then sort of help you create test cases based on how humans would actually use your platforms. Okay. Sorry, I'm rushing now because of time. And then I also listed some tools here that you can actually try out. Now, most of these tools are not free, but there are some that most of them will give you like 1 week, access for you to try them out, and some of them are actually free for you to use for life. Okay, I've also listed the benefits here. What the benefits you get by using AI to write your automation driven test. Okay, I think we'll have to share this slide so that the part that we're running fast, you can also catch up. Then there's visual testing. He has the ability to actually analyze pixels on your screen and then see where the changes are, where there are like different that changes, and then tell you what the changes are and how to actually test those changes. It has the ability to detect layout shifts, for color changes, font changes, and all those cosmetic fixes. So you don't have to argue with your dev if the green is green enough, or if the oil is olive green and all that. It can help you eliminate all that. And then I guess the last one I mentioned here is your ability to speak your test. Using NLP. NLP is like natural language processing. It's the ability of the machine to understand, like, verbal input. Like, you speak to the machine and it understands. So you can literally tell the machine to maybe create test cases. You just tell the machine user logs with valid credentials, and the machine understands that and is able to create test cases based on that verbal input, and then give you results. Okay. The next thing I want to move to, which is very important, is prompt engineering. Okay. Now, when it comes to AI, in the world of AI, prompts is like the most important thing you should know. Okay. It's the most important skill you should have, and as a QA person, you have to work on improving your prompt engineering skills. Okay. What are prompts? Prompts are basically, or prompt engineering is a skill of writing clear and effective instructions called prompts, to get the best results out of your AI tools. Okay. I say that in short, it's simply the ability to know what to ask, how to ask, so that the AI can give you exactly what you need. Okay, put in bracket there, context-aware instruction. Now, context is very, very important, when it comes to prompt, when it comes to AI in general. Its ability for you to explain explicitly to the machine, for it to understand what you're talking about, give the machine context. Okay, I'll explain this a bit more as I go along. So I put some sample prompts here to say, for instance, okay, you could tell the machine to generate 5 boundary test cases for your login feature. Okay. I also added a lot of some examples there. Like, you can ask your machine tool to create a QA checklist for mobile app testing. You could ask it to give you exploratory test ideas. A lot of things that you can actually do, but you just know how to structure your prompt. So as a QA person, for instance, you have to make the AI to understand that you're actually a software QA, because from experience, I just got to find out that there's QA in a lot of other aspects, okay, outside software. There's QA in manufacturing, where after things are produced, there's a QA that has to check those things for sort of quality and standards, which is different from software QA. There's QA in infrastructure. There's QA in pharmaceuticals. There's QA in a lot of other aspects. So when you're trying to get your output, I have to give the machine a context, for instance, to let the machine know that I'm actually talking about, software, that I'm a software QA. So all the inputs, all the output you're going to give me should be based on, as if you're outputting to a QA person. Okay, so I have an example here to show. So for instance, if I tell the machine to, maybe I go in and search for AI generator, right? And then the machine output this image for me. Is the machine wrong or right? Is the machine wrong or right? Solani, please give me my updates. Let me know how much time I have left. Okay, you said the machine is right. Why do you think the machine is right? We were looking for AI generator, and it gives you an image of an AI with a nice looking generator. So everyone says the machine is right. And I agree with you. The machine is right because you didn't give the machine any context. You just said AI generator, and it's giving you an image that has both AI and generator. So the point I'm trying to make here is that context is important. Okay, and your understanding of prompt engineering is your ability to know the context of the conversation, and then your ability to input that context in your prompt. Okay, this next slide will help you. So here I say a good prompt must have these features. Okay, so when you're inputting your prompt, you're crafting your prompts for the machine. As a QA person, remember we're focused on that. As you're crafting your prompts for the QA, for the machine to output responses, what are the features that makes up a good prompt for the computer to actually understand what you're talking about? So the first one here I mentioned is clarity. Okay, and your prompt should be very easy to understand and not ambiguous. Okay, including an example that says, for instance, you input a prompt that says generate test cases for login page. Okay, generate test cases for login page. That is a far better prompt and for you to tell the AI to write something about login. Okay, the next one is the ability for your prompt to be specific. Okay, it says that the more details you give, the better the results. This is very, very important. The more information you give the machine, remember, we remember computer basics is garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so the more information you provide, the better. So say this example, it says create 5 test cases for a login form that has an email, password, and also remember me checkbox on the page. That's a better prompt compared to the first one that just says generate test cases for login page. This second command went ahead to tell you the specifics of the login page. That this login page I'm testing has a username, password, and it has a remember me checkbox. So you see that that's being giving the computer more specific information for it to give you output. Okay. The third one is the one we talked about in the AI generator example, context. So you try to provide a bit of a background to help the computer give you very accurate output. Okay. For example, here it says, assume you're a senior software QA tester reviewing mobile app performance. You see how specific and the context you're giving. So let it know that the person asking this question is a software QA tester. So it's not trying to give you feedback based on maybe some other QA from another industry. You're giving it a context. Context is the background, okay, to make it better understand what you are actually talking about. Okay, remember we are talking about the features of a good prompt, what a good prompt should actually have. Okay. The next one is format guidance. You can actually tell the AI how to structure your output. Okay, I want you to give me maybe in a tabular form. I want you to maybe output in a PDF form. I want you to structure it in tables, in rows and columns. You can also tell the AI how to give you the output. So if you're writing your test cases, you can tell it to arrange it in columns, and then the columns should have maybe test IDs. What's the other things you have in your test cases? You ask it to give you all that information in columns. So all you probably need to do, maybe just copy and paste, and your life is easier. Okay. And then role-based framing. Okay, so you're framing the AI's role to help the AI to guide the tone and the depth. Okay, it says, an example here says, act as a security tester and suggest 5 vulnerabilities to check for. So you're giving it the role. You tell it to act as a security tester. Okay, other examples I've used this is like maybe you're trying to ask questions on finance, or maybe you're trying to maybe get information, maybe as a mentor. You can tell the AI to act as maybe a mentor that's been in QA field for maybe 15 years. What advice will you have for someone that is just starting out on the QA journey? You see how you're framing the role. So the AI, remember we say the more information you input, the clearer, the more the AI is able to give you more informed output that's tailored to your specific need. Okay, and then lastly, we say that I should give it constraints and limits. Okay, to just give it the scope, the areas to focus on. And then we give an example that says that that the AI should probably only suggest boundary test cases for numeric inputs between 1 and 100. So you're giving it a boundary. Okay, now I listed these 6 things. It's just to serve as a guide for you. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean like every prompt you want to write, to perform your QA responsibilities or wherever you're using AI. It doesn't mean they should actually have these 6 characteristics, but they help you. What I can tell you is that whenever you're crafting your prompt, just try to make sure make sure that you cover about 3 of these listed things. Okay, if you didn't if you're leaving out anyone, don't leave out clarity, don't leave out the context. Those two are actually very, very important. Then also make sure that one other one is actually very, very actually covered. Okay, always ensure that you cover 3 of these features for you to be able to create good prompts. Okay, as we begin to wind down, yeah, so these are like few real world examples of companies that are actually using AI. Some of the companies we've mentioned earlier, Google, that they use machine learning to reduce flakiness in Android releases. Flakiness is instances where in your automation, maybe you run the script the first time and then it gives a particular result, it passes, you run it again and then it fails, you run it again, it passes. That inconsistency, okay, that's an example of flakiness. So Google uses ML to fix that. Meta, Facebook, they use AI to identify risky areas in their code, for targeted testing. And then Netflix, the performance testing, test scenarios, they use AI. That's why everyone in the whole world can be watching Netflix and it's not dragging. They are very, very big on load balancing and performance testing. Okay, and then some other startups, that use AI tools to mimic behaviors of applications and how users will possibly use. Smaller companies that probably can afford the bigger tools, they use some of this. I'll recommend you try out this testers.ai. Okay, I think it has ability to mimic human behavior, and then help you create test cases based on that. Okay, and so winding down, finally, QA engineers, what should you do, to prepare for the future? What should you possibly do right now? So the first thing might not be what you want to see, So I'm saying you should double down on your QA knowledge. Okay, why I put this as the first one is that your QA knowledge is actually very, very important. We mentioned here that, like we talked on context. Context is is the background, is the ability for you to actually understand, have an in-depth knowledge of what you're talking about. And you need that information to be able to tell the machine, the AI, what to output to you. Okay, so don't see this all these tools like we're sharing today as like, oh, well, my life is easy, I'll just go use the machine and then I don't even need to study anything, I don't need to learn. Trust me, you make a mess of yourself. You need a deep understanding of QA, a deep understanding of the field, of the expectations, even the technical language. You need all that information to be able to even ask the AI to do the right actions, to perform the right actions, to give you the right output. Okay, you need that in-depth knowledge. I don't have time here. I could have shown you. I saw a video of a guy that used AI to create a full commercial. The first guy that was able to do that when VO3 was released, was able to use it to create a full-blown commercial. And if you watch that commercial, you actually can't tell that this was AI generated. The pictures are so good, you can't actually tell that this was created by AI. Now, I went to look at how the guy was able to do that, was able to create such an amazing commercial. I got to know that the guy has a background, like he's been shooting video commercials for the past several years. So he has like an in-depth knowledge of the field, from, although he used AI to, from the conceptualization of the idea to the scripting to, camera angles, framing, his shots and everything, he did all that with AI, but he originally has an in-depth knowledge of his field, of his work. This is what he has been doing for many years. So it's easy for him to be able to create, that easily using AI. Even after watching the videos and the steps and everything he did, I was still lost. I couldn't even attempt to try to create all the things he was doing because the technical term that has to do with camera, the focus, the angles and everything, how the pan, motion shot and all that. Like, I have no idea of all those things. But because he has that idea, he's able to create something that unique. So I say double down on your QA knowledge because that's the knowledge that will help you to get the best output out of your AI. Okay, let's run fast. And then the next one I say that you should learn prompt engineering. Okay, learn basic machine learning concepts. This, I can't even flog this enough. If you didn't take anything out of this session, this is very important. AI and everything just dwells on this thing, your prompt, prompt engineering is a big thing, it's a big career. University are creating courses for this thing. So it's the most important thing for you to learn on your AI journey, okay? And then practice, 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 practice. Use a lot of AI tools, get your hands dirty. Experience makes perfect. Is that what they say? No, they say practice makes perfect. Okay. So educate and upskill your teams. If you have teams here, you manage people, encourage them to get their hands dirty, to try out tools, run small pilots, you might not want to expose, maybe you're a developer, you write automations, you might not want to expose your entire code base, to AI. You can start with a module, okay? You just take a particular feature and like, okay, all through this sprint, maybe all through this quarter, we're using AI to work on this particular module. Let's see how it goes, and then you can measure the outcome based on that and grow, okay? And then the other one I say you should learn how to analyze tests, results, and metrics for decision making. This is very, very important. AI will be able to do a lot of things for you, run test cases for you, and do all that for you. But you should know how to understand the metrics, understand the results, the output, so you can still make informed decisions based on the outputs or based on those results. Okay. I know we started this class talking about concerns for AI. If AI will take our jobs and all that. Okay. So to address that concern, I had to add this to my slide to say that AI is not replacing QA, it's not taking your job, it's only helping you, supercharging it, okay? And then I went ahead to say that AI will not take your job, but the people that know how to use the AI, the masters of the AI, the people that know how to use their prompts, they are the ones that will actually, take your job. So this is very, very important for you to learn. Yeah, I think that's everything that I have to say. So for you listening to this, watching this, learn to get your hands dirty on these things. I say here that QA 2.0 is actually happening now. You should actually get ready to be a part of it, to be one of the architects. The company I'm working for last year, they forced everybody to go learn about AI. They did hackathons, they did massive trainings on AI. Also in the past few months, I've been opportune to work with some big consulting firms. Everywhere you go is AI. These guys are integrating these things into the systems, into what they do. So, and these are the guys that set the pace. These are the guys that determine the direction for technology. And for them to be doing that, just to tell you that this thing is here to stay, okay? It's not something that they'll get rid of tomorrow. Just like it was hard to control or get rid of the internet or crypto. AI is also one of those things, okay? It's here to stay. So it will do you much good if you can, really improve yourself and be proficient in these things. Regardless of where you are, you can start small to learn, what to do with AI. If you have a team, encourage them. It's still new. It's still very new. A lot of people don't really understand how to use it. A lot of organizations don't. So for you, it could be to start maybe creating introductory courses, that you can share, teach others, and maybe teach people in the organization. But just start something. I guess I'm saying this to just encourage you to be a pioneer in this thing. Okay, to be one of the people at the forefront, to gain the knowledge, like one of the early adopters of these things. Okay, I guess that's all I have the time for us today. I guess I've exhausted my time. Thank you, Motaleni, for being patient. Yeah, that's all I have time for. I'm not sure if I have time for questions, Motalani.
We do. Thank